Hello there YouTube, my name is Chuggy and today I am playing some Battlefield 3, playing some Conquest on Caspian border, and today guys, it is question time part 11. Guys, first of all an apology, and you can probably hear it, I think I'm coming down with a cold or something, my throat is really sore today, so I will apologise for my lack of normally, well, decent sounding voice, but anyway guys, today I have, well, I believe, 36 of your wonderful questions to get through today, and well, I've got about 35 minutes to do it in. I've got a nice long gameplay, single gameplay this time, of me playing some Conquest on Caspian border, and what you'll see me doing in this gameplay anyway is messing around with a few weapons which I don't normally use. Predominantly it'll be this, the MP7, which is a hell of a piece of kit if you can get it unlocked with the right bits of gear, but I quite enjoyed playing this game. You see me run around and do some crazy things, and I thought it was all in all a pretty decent game. But anyway, that's enough about the gameplay. Let's get to some of your questions, and before I do that, a brief reminder, if you will, of how to submit questions. So all you have to do is leave your question down in the comment section below, and the next question time, which will be in a week or so, actually no, till like 2 and a bit weeks or so, well, basically keep an eye out for your question being answered there. I'm going to try and keep these relatively, within a half an hour where possible, so there is a possibility now, since so many of you are submitting questions, that I might not get through all of them. But I'll try and get as many done as possible. Anyway, I got 36 to get through this week. Let's get going with some of them now. So the first two questions this week comes from mdace14, and they first of all ask, have I ever broken like a bone in my body, like an arm or a leg or anything like that? Well, no, I haven't actually. I've been quite fortunate in that regard. To date, anyway, when I've recorded this, I have broken no bones whatsoever. I have had a couple of pretty nasty injuries though. Probably the worst of which was when I was doing some metalworking in secondary school. I had a piece of metal which had just come out of a forge, a couple thousand degrees C. Had it in the tongs, all nice and cushy, and the tongs were a bit old, to be fair. And well, basically the piece of hot metal fell out of the tongs and straight into my hand, and I got some pretty nasty burns on my right hand. It's all gone away now, cleared up, but basically that was a trip down to the hospital, and I lost a bit of skin on my right hand, which was quite fun. Nothing drastic, but like there's a little bit of flap of skin between like your finger and your thumb. Well, I burnt away quite a bit of that on my right hand. But anyway, nothing really all that major, but pretty unpleasant for a little while anyway. So that's that. No broken bones as of yet, which is nice. And what time do I normally play online? Well, that's a good question. Again, these days, I'm still a little bit busy with university work, but it tends to be in the evening BST. And I'd say probably anywhere from, I don't know, 6-ish forward to probably 10 or 11. So there's like a 5-hour window every day. But with work and things, it's all very variable at the moment. In fact, I've got a few more questions about servers and things shortly, so I'll probably talk about it a bit more then. Anyway, thank you, Mdace, for those questions. Megadude599 asked an interesting question this week. They ask, what was the worst game I have ever played? And this is off the back of me talking about the best games I've ever played in the last few question times. Well, that's a really difficult one. I don't like to be negative just for the sake of being negative. I like to offer some form of constructive criticism. And I've played an awful lot of games which have not been all there, let me put it like that. But there is one game which was there, but was just, well, it was inexcusable, let me put it like this, and it was a game called World Racing. And basically, what it was about was, I think they gave you, a massive variety of Mercedes to drive. You've got your road cars, racing cars, off-roaders, all this kind of stuff, and you're given like a massive open world to drive around in. Sounds great. The problem is, the AI was ridiculous. They were worse, some of the worst AI I've ever seen in a racing game. And the user interface and everything, you had no idea what you were meant to be doing. Well, I will say the soundtrack was amazing. Lots of sort of Euro trancey kind of chill out music, which was awesome. But yeah, the user interface killed it for me. I could deal with the AI at times by just trying to drive away and hopefully not making a mistake. But it was the kind of AI where if you made one mistake, you got to restart the whole race because they'd just drive off and leave you, which sucked a bit. But yeah, World Racing, it had the potential for it to be something very, very special, but the user interface just killed it. I mean, I'm not kidding. You couldn't tell if you were going to be driving a particular car or not. You'd select the car, but then it turns out that you hadn't selected it, you'd selected it for something else. It was very, very strange, very strange. At least I didn't understand how to work it, let's say. in that scenario. But anyway, I digress. So World Racing, it had the potential, but it just did not quite execute properly, I guess. So thank you, Megadude, for that question. One Brought Down asks the next question. Actually, it's one which is a little bit appropriate since I'm running around with a laser on my weapon right now. They ask, would I like dice to reduce the power on the lights and the lasers from teammates to make it more realistic on sort of if you're the opponent? So in terms of, or at least this is how I hope you're coming at. So if you shone a light or a laser at someone, it wouldn't be as bright. To be honest, I'm quite happy with the way that the lights and the lasers are in this, but I think there's another problem contributing to this, which I'll be talking about. But basically, I think that the actual light level and everything is correct. I think it's nice. It's a nice addition. I haven't seen it in first-person shooters before, and I welcome it. But what I think a big issue here is not to do with the lights directly, but to do with the way that you actually play the game and how things are drawn on screen, rendered. It's a funny little fact, but if you may or not have noticed, but most first-person shooters you play, the bullets from your weapon actually come from the top of your head. And you may have been playing other games. I know I've had this happen to me in Battlefield. I've had it happen to me a lot in Call of Duty. It's a lot more noticeable there, where you can be crouched behind like a half wall, let's say. You can just see the top of the dude's helmet, and he's firing at you. Like there's no wall there. You know, the weapon is nowhere near. All you can see is the top of his head. As far as he's concerned, from his end, weapons above the wall, everything. It's because his viewpoint is being drawn differently, and the long and short of it is, it's a technical limitation, really, to get the perspective right, to make everything look correct. It's the way that things have been done for a long time. So, for instance, I'm running around here with an MP7. It looks like I'm firing it roughly from like the shoulder or the hip, wherever. But in reality, it's actually from the head level, because that's where I can see. Bear in mind, obviously, this is a first-person shooter. The camera is where my eyes are. Thing is, if the gun was actually drawn in the correct place, you wouldn't be able to see it as you're playing, which is a little weird. So some games do it better than others, but basically I think the big issue here is in terms of, you think your weapon might be shining in one place, like for instance if you're shining a laser at someone's knee, but it's quite possible you're actually hitting them somewhere else, and it's nothing you can do. It's just a technical limitation within the game. A lot of games have this, to be fair. This isn't a Battlefield or a Call of Duty or anything like that exclusive thing. This is just the way that things have to be drawn on screen for them to make sense. So an interesting thing there. In terms of the power, I think it's fine. And yeah, the actual, how you see them, well, it's something you can't really do much about. So, thank you, One Brought Down, for the question. An interesting one, and I'll be interested to see if anyone figures out how to draw this stuff properly. But anyway, that's a topic for a whole other video. The next question comes from Reaper's Bane, and they ask, which YouTubers do I enjoy watching content from, and if any, who would I like to do like a dual commentary with? Well, there are loads. Now, the guys who got me into this game, put the idea in my head of, hey, I should give this a go, are basically Hutch and Tape. And obviously Hutch has, unfortunately, he's decided to hang up his commentating microphone. Fair play to him. I wish him all the best. I think I said as much when he announced all that. Although the whole story about why he left, I think there's a bit more than what is publicly available. But never mind. That's again a topic for another video. But yeah, Hutch and Tape. Reason being that they were two guys which not only amazed me at how well they could play games, but also how entertaining it could be to watch someone play games. Now, when I sort of tell people, why I do this, it's a combination of, I want to talk about games myself, to other people who play games, but also, show off, to put it frankly, to show off, some of my better achievements as I've played games. And, it's weird to think, it would be enjoyable to watch someone else playing games. Surely that's like the worst thing. You want to be playing it yourself, but there's something really enjoyable, and it was those two guys, the way they approached their videos, it entertained me, it amazed me, and I wanted to get into it myself. And basically, if I had the opportunity to do a dual commentary with either of those two guys, I would jump at the chance, in short. Really top-class chaps, and, I think a lot of people can owe their sort of the fact that they are making videos to at least those two gentlemen, at least, and of course you've got other guys as well in there, your Blame Truths and such, who've been there from the very beginning, Excuse me. Been there from the very beginning. There are plenty of amazing guys out there, and actually, I should probably mention Biggie Peral. I probably said his name wrong. Crazy Icelandic guy. Who does, well, most known for the Operation series, so Operation Asshat, Operation Cars, and he's doing a lot of other funny stuff, and he's got, let me put it like this, he's got less uploads than me, but he's got over 110,000 subscribers. He's just, again, one of these guys who puts together videos which are entertaining, and people like that, and he's a bit crazy as well, which helps. But anyway, those three chaps, amazing, and yeah, Hutch and Tave, that would be an amazing opportunity to do a dual commentary with them. If it would actually happen, I doubt, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, great question, Reaper's Brain, thank you for that. Now, interesting question here from Smoky Vicious, I believe, and they ask, why do I stutter? And, you know, it basically goes on to say, I can't even talk to a girl because I'm scared I might stutter. It sucks. And I've got to say a big thank you, actually, to Mr. Hab142 and Your Mum 1998 for their responses, actually, because this was a nice little discussion. And, well, in short, I don't know the medical reason why people stutter. I know that people do, of course, stutter, and it's something which I know that can be worked out. I believe you can take some, speech therapy sessions or whatever it may be. But my biggest piece of advice, if you ever wanted to go and talk to someone, is be confident, right? If you've got something to say, just go ahead and say it. Now, it's, you know, easy to say, just go and talk to someone. You know, if it's, you know, it's this crush or something like that, obviously, you know, you're going to be quite, you know, there's a lot riding on this, I could get hurt, everything else. Yeah, I can buy that, and obviously it's easier to say than actually do. But just be confident in yourself, just be yourself, and people will respect that. You know, people don't tend to be asshats. They only tend to be asshats on the internet because they've got some anonymity. If you actually go and talk to someone, just be yourself. In my experience anyway, people will have plenty of time for you, will make an effort to engage in the conversation, and you'll be fine. So, you know, just, nasty. Oh, blimey, I laugh and I cough. So yeah, basically, Smokey, you know, just be yourself, be confident, and go and talk to whoever it may be, and hopefully, you know, in this case, she will spend the time, and you'll have a nice conversation and go from there. So my biggest piece of advice, you know, is again, it's kind of relating back to this confidence creates skill stuff. Just be, you know, confident in yourself, and yeah, you'll be surprised with the results. Certainly, in my experience, that's happened anyway. So, great question, and again, thank you to Mr. Hab and Your Mum 1998 for that. And check this out: spray and pray. That's never going to happen again. I remember going woo when I got that kill. Anyway, one of the many reasons why I thought this game was pretty fun. Anyway, see, it's happening again. What is up with my throat? Anyway, thank you, Smokey, for the question. All the best, mate. I hope it goes well, and whatever's going on. Next question comes from ShadowWraith17X, and they ask, when's my birthday? Well, I'm not sure why you're asking this question, because to be honest, in between me uploading this video and... let me get this right. No, I'll say it like this. It has actually been my birthday in the last 2 weeks, and I know that a few people have put happy birthday and things in comments and in Twitter and things, and I don't know if you're picking up on that, but I'll say it's been in the last 2 weeks. I'm 22 now, and I feel very, very old. Especially with this cold, I feel even older. So yeah, it's in the last 2 weeks, and you already know the number. There's the hint. Anyway, there you go, ShadowWraith. A little bit of a riddle for you, sir. Anyway, thank you for the question. Next question comes from the Boga 700, and they ask, do you think the Recon should be able to use personal defense weapons as secondary? So, I guess you know, the likes of the MP7 and such as secondaries. No, in short. The pistols are more than adequate, I think, and if you really want something automatic, you've got your G18s and things that you can roll with. The thing with the personal defense weapons as they're classed in Battlefield is that they are actually primaries. They, well, to be honest, as all weapons, are designed to kill, and kill very effectively. And the personal defense weapons do that very well, and I think that if you gave a Recon a PDW and a sniper rifle, they would be too effective. They would be overpowered. So I think it's good that everyone's got a pistol and a primary. It works, it's kind of a classic formula, and in my eyes, that's the way to do it. So no, personally I don't think it should be. If you want a personal defense weapon as a Recon, you can quite easily select it as your primary, and if you want to be really, really tricky, you can, you know, for instance, try and run like an AS Val and try and use it in a multi-role capacity, if you want a bit of close range and long range action. There are options, but no, in short, Primary, sniper, or long barrel weapon, or long rifle weapon. Secondary, pistol. I think personally that works the best. Anyway, thank you for the question, the Boga. Next question comes from your mum, 1998, and they ask, if I have the TV missile, how come I don't use the ECMs? Obviously, I'm guessing, belaying the point that, well, if you've unlocked the ECM, why aren't you using the ECM? Well, in the meantime, between me, uploading some gameplay, me flying around in some helicopters, I should probably do that again sometime. Got some nice games of me flying around in some choppers doing some damage. But anyway, I have actually started using the ECM post-patch, basically. Or well, I should say this preface to this the other way. Pre-patch, the ECM wasn't all that effective in my eyes. You could lose the laser locks, but that was pretty much it. And whee, off he goes. Yeah, the ECM, it had a use, but it wasn't as good all round as the flares. Now today, the flares, I don't know, they just don't feel the same, don't feel right, and I've found that the ECMs are better. It's kind of a prevention v cure kind of thing, where by ECM you can shake the lock before they've even fired the missile. Flares, you obviously need to shake the missile once it's been fired. I don't know, I'm just finding the ECM is working better. It might all be placebo, of course, a placebo effect, but certainly to me it seems to be working quite nicely, so I've been quite happy with that. So yeah, I am using the ECMs now, in short. The flares have got their use, but certainly the ECMs seem to become a lot better, and I don't know if it's just in my head or what, but I am using the ECMs now to kind of answer your question, so thank you, your mum, for that. Next question, or next two questions, I should say. Well, actually, there's one question which has been echoed by a few, so I've included them in it. Comes from Remy1004, and their first question is, will I be playing Far Cry 3? Hell yes, I love Far Cry 2. The ending, no spoilers, was crap, but Far Cry, I am a big fan of the, you're placed in an area, go about, do your bidding, it's all up to you kind of deal. Big fan, really looking to Far Cry 3. They look like, Ubisoft look like they're doing some really fancy, interesting things with it, and I hope that it all will work nicely together. It looks really nice so far, and the footage and things they've released, so I'm pretty hyped for it, yes. And, well, their second question, which is echoed by Dr. BCDPS3 and Shit for Lunch, what do I think of the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 trailer? Well, this is going to be an interesting one. Very interesting. So my biggest criticism of Call of Duty is that, or at least these days, is that it's too samey. It's the same game as it was, 5-6 years ago when Call of Duty 4 released. It's just been reskinned. And I see Black Ops 2 as the same, to be honest. It's funny, I forget who it was, my apologies, but someone left a comment on the very first video I uploaded on this channel, second video I uploaded on this channel, first gameplay video, which was me running around Call of Duty 4, BOG, introducing myself basically, and they sort of said, oh, I thought you didn't like Call of Duty. Far from it, I loved Call of Duty. I thought it was great the way you could pick it up and play it and everything else. The problem is that it got stale, and to try and add new things, they added some different things, and that had some serious drawbacks. You got your one-up-man army noob tubes, all that kind of crap. The game, it just needs a reboot. Activision, being the publishers, have done the same thing that they've done to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Rock Band. They've just milked it. They've milked it too much. They need to stop, give it a rest, have a think about what they want to do with it, and restart. Black Ops, okay, it's in the future, that's interesting. The most interesting thing, actually, I pulled from the whole trailer was the fact it seems to be alluding to the fact that you might be driving some vehicles, which I find quite funny, because, well, they did it in Call of Duty 3, they did it in World at War. It's interesting that bringing the vehicles back, perhaps it's a Battlefield influence, who knows, since Battlefield's been doing well, or certainly a lot better. I think they sold 15 million units a couple of weeks back. That's pretty decent, given the climate. Yeah, I just found it interesting, let me put it like that. So, I'm not hyped for Black Ops 2 at all. I'm interested to see what they'll do with it, but will I buy it? I don't know. And the trailer, it didn't show me anything that I really wanted to see, I guess. So, I think that really wraps it up, to be honest. I just hope Call of Duty's got, Call of Duty's a great series. It deserves its success. It's easy to pick up and play. The controllers are beautiful. They've done a lot right. But it's too samey, and what they've tried to do to try and change it has broken it further. Anyway. So, thank you guys for those questions. Great questions. Now, next two question comes from TomJake767, and this is Tom from my squad. And, well, he has two questions. And he asked, first of all, if I could choose 5 games from, say, the 80s to now, which I had to play before I die, what would they be? And secondly, what do I think about exclusive sort of timed DLC? So, for instance, Microsoft sorted out a deal when Grand Theft Auto 4 was released where they had exclusive rights to DLC for a bit, etc. Well, I'll answer the second question first because it's the easiest to answer. I think it's fair game. There's the old saying, all is fair in love and war, and business is a war. So I have no problem with that personally. I mean, it sucks as gamers that obviously, you know, because of some sort of monetary exchange that we won't have the ability to play the content at the same time as someone else. But, you know, it works both ways. For instance, Battlefield 3 on the PS3, we get the maps a week earlier. If you pay for Call of Duty Elite, you get all those maps, you know, a couple of weeks earlier, whatever it may be. You know, it's the way of the world, it's business. It sucks, absolutely, from a gaming point of view, but it's business. I don't necessarily agree with the idea, but that's the way it is. So, I'm not keen on it, but it's business, and business is business, and they need something to work with. So, it sucks from a gamer point of view, but I don't see it changing, which sucks. As for the first question, which 5 games would I have to play before I die? That's a really difficult one. Now, to be honest, of the games I've played sort of pre-1990s, let's say pre-Game Boy, which I think it was released in '89, so there are a few. So actually, the first game I'd play is a game from the Game Boy called James Bond 007. Now, I don't know if it was an official sort of title licensed or rest, but it was a great game. It was actually genuinely very, very difficult to beat, and well, it was just quintessentially James Bond. You know, there's a bit where you have to sneak around a black market to find some items to progress. There's a bit where you have to win so many hands in a casino to, you know, meet a boss, all this kind of stuff. Lots of interesting little elements. That's a great game in itself, and you can probably find it online somewhere, although I will not encourage you playing it like that because it's probably illegal, but anyway. Good game. Very much enjoyed playing that. The original Gran Turismo I found very enjoyable, and I would know if I hadn't played it, I'd quite happily go back to it. A weird cross between simulation and crazy drifting and everything else. That was quite good fun when I was younger. Metal Gear Solid. To be honest, anyone who has the ability to get a games console, Metal Gear Solid is one of those games where you just have to play, and you know, it challenges you on an intellectual and skill level across all the games. I love those very dearly, so I think that's 3 at the moment. Deus Ex, actually, now I come to think of it, again for similar reasons. Human Revolution obviously is the most recent title, that's the one I came in on, but I'll be picking up the original Deus Ex when it's released on the PlayStation Store as a sort of PS2 classic, which I'm very happy about. So that's another one. Final one, tricky. I think the final game I'd have to say is Heavy Rain, actually. Reason being that it's not so much as a game than it is art. It's kind of strange. It's a very, 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 very intense story. And it just takes you on a journey. It's like any good film, you know, it gets its hooks into you and then it doesn't let go until you finish it. And boy, oh boy, there are some elements in that game which you don't see coming. Again, no spoilers, I can't recommend it enough. But yeah, a few 5 games there. I'm not sure if I quite got the right gist of the question in terms of games I have or haven't played, but still, 5 great sort of series or games, guys. Go and check those out. Amazing titles. I very much enjoyed playing all of those anyway. So thank you, Tom, for those questions. Wriggles asks, if I could add a firearm to Battlefield 3, what would it be? Difficult one. I did mention last question time I was all keen on adding more British weaponry and things to Battlefield or first-person shooters in general, really, because obviously, you know, a bit of patriotism, shoot people with your country's weapon of choice, all very good. But ignoring that, I guess, you know, answering on a different tangent, I'd have to go for an iconic weapon, actually. And one thing, it's kind of curious, you've got this, well, basically, the long and short of it is, it would be a Kalashnikov, an AK-74, and, or 47 even. You've got the 74M, there we go, that's the reason. You have the 74M in the game, but why not the 47? The 47 is, or was the original, obviously famous for its reliability and its wide usage. It's an interesting weapon. I'd like to see it. I've always tended to get on quite well with it in first-person shooters. So I wouldn't mind seeing it in Battlefield. Who knows? It could be something that might come in Armored Kill or any of the future DLC and things which have been announced. And in fact, I don't think I've mentioned this, but Battlefield Premium. Yeah. Yeah, premium service, you get a knife. Wonderful. Not so sure. I might have to talk about that in another video. Anyway. So yeah, I think probably an icon, the 47, AK-47 of course, would be up there, and I'd probably go for that. So thank you, Rebels, for that. Next question comes from, or questions, comes from Air Fox Patton, and they ask, what's my favourite map in Battlefield 3, and what's my favourite race course in F1 2011? Well, it's a really difficult question. Now, Battlefield 3 for me has got a lot of really good maps, and probably if I had to absolutely categorically say one map, I'm probably going to have to say Operation Metro. And you might kind of go, why? It's not a Battlefield, massive open space or anything like that. True, but I have found more close, intense, fun games on Metro than I think I have on any other Battlefield map. Or Battlefield 3 map, and that's because it really does focus on the core mechanics of Battlefield, which is team play, flexibility, momentum. You get those down, you'll win the day. And when you've got two teams which are working those elements at the same time, boy oh boy, do you have a hell of a fight. So probably Metro. Favourite race course in F1 2011. Again, difficult. One thing which kind of annoys me actually with F1 2011 is how the tracks are slightly out in terms of their modelling. But what I will say, I really do love F1 2011 version of Turkey. I'm not a particularly great fan of the Turkey race course IRL, but there's something about the way it is in F1 2011, it just suits me to a T in terms of the way I drive it. It'll either be a mash between that and Melbourne. So let's say Turkey, let's just say Turkey for argument's sake. So yeah, there you go, Turkey and Operation Metro. Lovely stuff. Anyway, thank you, Air Fox Patton, for those questions. Next questions come from Meldoa07. They ask a few. So, first of all, they ask, if I won a lottery, like a big prize, what would I do with the money? Well, easy. First of all, I'll give about half of it to charity. There would be no way I'd be able to spend, I don't know, £10 million on my own. Half to charities, and I'd probably invest the rest in, well, I'd get a nice house, a few cars perhaps. Enough to, set me up for life. But what I would be more interested in doing is setting up like an endowment or something, so people could, I don't know, get education, do something that they want to do. To give people opportunities, because let's face it, the odds of winning the lottery pretty slim, and if you can use that money to help other people as well as yourself, I see that as a win-win personally. So yeah, I think that's that. What is my favourite country? Not including the UK. Easy. Canada. Half Canadian. Kind of have to say that. And if I could have one superpower, what would it be? That's a difficult one. Probably flight. Be able to get everywhere quicker. That'd be quite neat. Although the ability to thingamajiggy. English language escapes me. Psychic. Being psychic. That'd be quite neat as well. Get into people's heads and go, do my bidding. No, let's go psychic. I'm going to go with psychic there. Thank you, Meldo, for those questions. Again, wonderful. I love these. iGatecrasher asks, okay, do I actually compete in any F1 leagues, and should it be implemented in F1 2012? I don't compete in any leagues at the moment. I was in the 6 Axis Championship, and you can find all 7 races in a playlist somewhere on the channel, but currently no, I don't tend to play competitively. Project PTFO will be my first proper competitive kind of style of competition. And do I think that there should be some leagues implemented into 2012? Yeah, why not? And I think Codemasters have got something called RaceNet or something. I think that's the idea, basically like a social network, like a battle log even for Codemasters racing games. I think that might be in there. Don't hold me to that though. I think that's the idea. Anyway, so by the sounds of it, you might be getting it. So there you go, Gatecrasher. Interesting questions. Just Me Alive and Kicking asks, will I be adding Rush games into my server rotation? Maybe. I'm more of a fan of Conquest personally, hence why it's pretty much Conquest at the moment. So possibly, I don't know. And, the second question is, have I ever played Call of Duty 1 United Offensive? No. The first Call of Duty game I played was Call of Duty 3, and I was actually pleasantly surprised at how good it was. A lot of people sort of trash talk it. I thought it was pretty good, personally, but, horses for courses, everyone's got a bit of a different take on things, but anyway. Thank you for those questions, Just Me Alive and Kicking. Kev the Red asks, where have the EA servers gone? Obviously, no admins, just 100% tickets, standard rules, all the rest. They did disappear, as it so happens, but they're being re-implemented because people were looking for them and wanted to play in a admin mad server. And it's funny, I probably won't add it in, but I've had like a day where I had 3 or 4 games ruined because the admins kicked me because I shot them. I don't, guys, come on, it's a first-person shooter, you're gonna get shot. Anyway. Digression. They did disappear, they're being re-added because people want to see them, so just, again, keep an eye out for them in server browser or search for, EA or DICE or something, and they should come up. So, Kev the Red, they're coming back. Good news! Next question come from DJ Cards, and they ask, why is my, when would my server ever be full? It's always empty, and this is echoed by quite a few people, actually. Yeah, the server has been very empty, and as I've said last time, I just haven't had the opportunity to get in the game, and with crazy ticket servers being really popular, such as the one I'm in actually in this game, the 100% ticket servers don't tend to be played unless people look for them. So the server's quiet, it's empty, and I don't quite know what to do about it really. I'm going to try and get online a little more often. I've still got some work to do, but yeah, it's not good that it's empty, obviously, but I think come close quarters, it's going to be going into a close quarters sort of rotation. I expect it's going to get busy again, obviously. More good games. I mean, I tweeted out and put on YouTube that I was on the server with a couple guys, and we had some good fun on there. It was a really good time. So I plan to be using the server a lot more. It is empty, and I do regret that, but time is short, unfortunately, so I'll say that much. Anyway, thank you for the question there, DJ Cards. Also asked, by the way, by Jabadella96. I hope I said that right. Sorry, sir, if I have not. Oyster asks, have I ever killed anyone by shooting explosives in Battlefield 3 with a sniper? Yes, several times. In fact, there was one where there was a jeep coming at me on Carg Island, and it was full of C4, Durka buggy, shot the explosives, boom, it went flying. Classy. Wasn't recording at the time, typically, so it's just one of those moments where I kick myself afterwards. But anyway, I have done it. It is very satisfying, and yeah, I'll say that much. Thank you for the question. Next few questions comes from Dr. BCDPS3, and they ask, well, actually, first of all about the server, it being empty. I think I kind of answered that. Second question, would you like it if you could play as the British Army in Battlefield 3? I'd love it, but I expect the media would have a bloody field day, and DICE would probably have to pull it immediately or something. What I'll always be reminded of is when Medal of Honor came out, and the media got it completely wrong, saying that you'd be playing as British soldiers against the Taliban, as it was at the time, and the media had a feckin' field day, even though it wasn't the British involved at all. It was all US versus OPFOR, as it turned out in the end, but never mind. So I'd like it, but it'll probably go mad. And their final question is, have I ever considered setting up a Facebook page for the channel? Perhaps. Would you guys like to see it? To be honest, I haven't given it all that much thought, but I can certainly do that if that's something you'd be interested in. Leave it in the comments, chaps. Interesting idea. Thank you very much there, Dr. BCDPS3. Switchblade941 asks, what's my favourite fast food outlet? I'm going to be a little stereotypical here and say McDonald's. I love chicken nuggets. I'll say that much. Thank you very much for the question. Camino14i, is that right? No, JNI, I believe, asks, do you think that the M40A5 has quite a small looking magazine, given that it has 10 rounds? Yeah, it does look small, but I expect the actual ammunition is loaded, if you will, in a grid style, so you have one bullet and then there's another bullet slightly below it. Obviously you won't tend to have rounds just stacked on top of each other. That does waste space. But yeah, I can completely get why you'd say, this looks a bit strange. But no, it looks fine. To me anyway. You do get some loading mechanisms like that from time to time. It depends from weapon to weapon. So yeah, it looks fine to me. Thank you for the question. Next few questions comes from PPK909, and they ask, what do I think about having a practice server with bots in them, where you can just practice your skills? I'm guessing for Battlefield. I'd love it. To be honest, I'm playing a lot of Counter-Strike at the minute, just to get ready for Global Offensive, and I'm playing on my computer locally with bots, just to get used to the way the game plays out, and I'm enjoying it greatly. It's a great learning tool. So yeah, I see no harm in it, adding features, no problem there. And their next question is, do I play any MMOs at all? I don't. I kind of have this thing where I don't like the idea of having to pay for a piece of software or continue paying for it after you've bought the original disc. And obviously, you likes of World of Warcraft, they have subscriptions and that kind of thing. So, I mean, if it's a service, for instance, I am subscribed to PlayStation Plus, yeah, that's something extra, that's an opt-in. But when you have to pay a physical amount of money to actually play the game once you've already bought the game, I kind of go, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I'll say that much. Anyway, I think I have a few more questions here. I'll try and get through them as quickly as possible. Jetbat Unleashed asks, if I had to run through public naked covered in peanut butter or Nutella, what would it rather be in? In short, it would depend what time of day. If it was the night, quite easily peanut butter, because then there would be no flies or anything. If it was day, probably Nutella. And why I'd do this in the first place is perhaps a question in itself. Thank you, Jetbat. Country Killer 15 asks, do you think they should add ghillie suits for recons to help them hide a bit? No, if you use the right camouflage on your dude, you can quite easily hide in bushes and stuff as it is now. It is a bit of an art, obviously hiding in fields and whatnot, but yeah, I think it's fine as it is, to be honest. Thank you for the question, though. And what I'll do is I'll add a freeze frame momentarily in here just to finish off these last few questions since I'm at the end. Warrior95ml asks, do I think the decision to split future races between Spa and the Paul Ricard circuit is a good one? No. Paul Ricard is a nasty circuit. I don't like it. It's a test track. It's not a race track. Ugh, damn Bernie. It's a circuit of your own, so of course I go in there, but anyway. Never mind. Thank you, Warrior, for the question. HC Bolaka, sorry, I think I said probably said your name wrong there. Have I ever played Battlefield 2, and which is better, Battlefield 2 or Battlefield 3? I have played Battlefield 2. For the time, I think Battlefield 2 did a lot, but personally I prefer Battlefield 3. I don't know, I think just technically it's achieved a bit more, obviously, since, obviously there's a time difference, and I think it suits it anyway. Kind of a weird answer, but there you go. Demonico15 asks, if there was a TPG-1, Arctic Warfare Magnum, PGM Sniper Rifle and Battlefield 3, would it be likely to see a weapon like that? And I think it's kind of referring to the fact, big bullets, bullets which would take a limb off kind of deal. Yeah, I can see them working in Battlefield 3. I think Armoured Kill is where you'd possibly see them. At the moment, you kind of got the M98B, which is a Magnum rifle, so that's a pretty big bullet. But yeah, I could see them being in Battlefield. It just depends on the map, really, and I see Armoured Kill being big maps. Ideal. So there you go, Demonico, there's that. And the final question, there we go, I knew there wasn't too many. Darkly1989 asks, when I play sort of Conquest, for instance, how can I get more points than perhaps he does on Xbox? Well, there's a thing which not many people realise, that if you're the squad leader and they press select on a flag, like looking at it, it'll mark it for as to be attacked. And any action, any scoring action, which happens in that radius, everyone gets bonus points. Like 20 points. I think that's what you're referring to. So if you're the squad leader, just press select, that spot button, whatever it may be. I think it's back on the Xbox controller, Q perhaps on PC, I'm not 100% sure on that. Just aim at the flag, it'll come up with a little like crosshair mark, go to there, score some points, get some bonus points. Nice and easy. Anyway, guys, so that's all the questions. Thank you so much, guys. Sorry this has run over a little bit and you got a bit of a freeze frame, but I will digress. Guys, thank you so very much for those questions. Again, if you have any questions you'd like me to answer next question time, just simply leave them down in the comments below, and I'll get to answering them next question time. And one more thing to announce, really. Sniper Elite V2 Let's Play. It starts today. The pilot, which I mentioned, is being uploaded alongside this. There'll be a link in a second on my outro. And, well, look back on this Friday for episode 1 of this Let's Play, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So, and more Project PTFO stuff coming soon as well, I should probably mention. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you so very much for watching. If you could leave a like, dislike, whatever you believe this video deserves, that'd be fantastic. If you have any questions you would like me to answer, by all means, please do leave them down in the comments below. If you're new to my videos, you can always subscribe, but most of all, thank you again, guys, so much for watching. I've been Chuggy, and I'll see you next time, out on the battlefield.